The name Silhouette comes from Etienne de Silhouette, who was finance minister of France back in the 1700s, back in the 1750s, 1760s, prior to the French Revolution. His financial policies were bankrupting France, and one of his hobbies was cutting out these little paper profiles. That the art form did not have a name yet, but people finding out that was one of his hobbies, cutting out little black profiles, and they were all starving to death. And while Mr. Etienne was sitting up there and hacking out his little paper dolls, people started wearing all black. And in protest, and they walked around the streets of Paris saying, "We are dressing a la Silhouette." They call themselves living silhouettes. And that's where the name came from, and it's been around ever since. The art form was all the rage in the late 1700s. These artists would go to these fancy balls and parties, and they would cut out silhouettes of lords and ladies. And children were not depicted in silhouette until the 1800s. And then when some of these artists migrated to the United States, they started touring around and appearing at fairs and summer picnics and things like that, doing silhouettes just kind of as an amusement, and they sold for just pennies a piece. Some of the artists stayed in Washington and around the aristocracy in this country and started doing famous politicians and things like that, and they made a lot more money. But a lot of the artists just toured around, just made money from town to town, which is pretty much what I do. I travel 26 states. I go as far west as Denver and Phoenix, and I go as far east as New York, all down the eastern seaboard, all of the southern states, and a lot of the Midwestern states as well. So I do a bunch. Just a lot of people like the experience of doing it from life, because it becomes an event. I do grandchildren a lot. I do small children a lot. Probably 60% of my customers are children under the age of 10. Although I'm doing more and more older children. A lot of my customers I do over and over again. Like I'll do a lot of people every 2 years. Some I do even every year. And a lot of the towns that I do every single year. So I have a repeat client base. Oh, absolutely. Dogs, cats, gerbils, boa constrictors, you name it, I've done it. I do lots and lots of dogs. And I'm now lapping generations. I've been doing this full-time since 1986. So these children are coming in with their children, these grown children. So it's really cool. And it's become a very sentimental event, because a lot of these grandmas now are coming in, and I've even heard stories where a lady's house was on fire, and she said the only thing she took out of her house were the silhouettes that I had done, which I thought was really cool. And another lady their house had flooded, same thing. She grabbed the silhouettes because she knew they were irreplaceable. And those are things that really make what you do seem, important in the grand scheme of things. Even though silhouettes are very insignificant little pictures, they become a real part of it. They become a real keepsake for people. And that's why I love what I do. I have a great job. I have a fun job, and I'm really blessed to be able to do it. And those are things that really make what you do seem, important in the grand scheme of things. Even though silhouettes are very insignificant little pictures, they become a real part of it. They become a real keepsake for people. And that's why I love what I do. I have a great job. I have a fun job, and I'm really blessed to be able to do it.